The Roman Empire never truly fell. It simply transformed. When the Western Roman Empire collapsed under the weight of invasions, corruption, and fragmentation, it seemed the ancient world had come to an end. But in the East, a different story was unfolding, a story of endurance, adaptation, and rebirth. This is the story of the Byzantine Empire, an empire that outlived its Western counterpart by nearly 1,000 years, a bridge between antiquity and the modern age, a beacon of learning, religion, and imperial ambition. Though its people always called themselves Romans, the world eventually recognized the distinct identity that had emerged. With its capital in Constantinople, the Eastern Empire took on a new character. Deeply Christian, Greeks, and increasingly influenced by the cultures of the Near East. The Eastern Roman, a new beginning after the fall of the West. But in the East, the Roman Empire persisted, stronger, wealthier, and more urbanized. The eastern provinces had always been the heart of commerce and culture. In 476 AD, the Western Roman Empire came to its official end when the last emperor, Romulus Augustulus, was deposed. The Eastern Roman Empire came to be known by another name, the Byzantine Empire. This new Rome would not just survive, it would shine. Constantine the Great, the emperor who shifted the power center east. The roots of Byzantium's rise lie with a single visionary emperor, Constantine the Great. Christianity infused every aspect of society. From politics to architecture to philosophy, the Byzantine Empire preserved the ancient world's wisdom, even as it innovated in theology, art, diplomacy, and administration. Persian, Arab, and Slavic influences also crept in through centuries of diplomacy, warfare, and trade. In the early 4th century, Constantine saw the future of the Roman Empire not in the crumbling cities of the West. Protected by water on 3 sides, it controlled the vital trade routes between the Black Sea and the Mediterranean. Constantine envisioned it as a new Rome, a Christian city, free from the pagan past, and destined to become the empire's spiritual and political heart. But in the East, where trade flourished and enemies could be held at bay, it boasted sophisticated infrastructure, aqueducts, forums, palaces, and universities, and was home to a multicultural population from across the empire. His brilliant general Belisarius won victories against formidable foes like the Vandals and Austria, was perhaps the most ambitious of all Byzantine emperors. Still, his vision left a legacy that shaped Byzantium for centuries. Byzantine diplomacy was legendary, using strategic marriages, bribes, treaties, and religious influence to maintain peace and power. His codification of Roman law, the Corpus Juris Civilis, remains one of the most influential legal texts in history, forming the foundation for legal systems in Europe to this day. In 338, he inaugurated a new capital on the ancient site of Byzantium, a city straddling Europe and Asia, and named it after himself, Constantinople. It was a strategic masterpiece. He was right. Constantinople would become one of the most important cities in world history, a unique blend of Roman and Eastern cultures, a flourishing new civilization. As the centuries passed, the Byzantine Empire developed a culture that was neither wholly Roman nor purely Eastern, but something new. Roman law, institutions, and imperial tradition remained at the core, but Greek became the dominant language, replacing Latin in everyday life and government. The result was a unique civilization, Roman in its roots, Greek in its culture, and Christian in its soul. The golden age of Byzantium. By the 6th century, under the leadership of strong emperors, the Byzantine Empire reached its zenith. Constantinople had become the largest and richest city in Europe, but it was under one emperor in particular that Byzantium would truly shine, Justinian the Great. A period of prosperity and expansion. Justinian I, who ruled from 527 to 565 AD, he sought to restore the Roman Empire in the West, launching military campaigns that temporarily reclaimed North Africa, Italy, and parts of Spain. Justinian also transformed the empire's legal system, but his reign was also marked by challenges, devastating plagues, costly wars, and civil unrest. The Hagia Sophia, a testament to Byzantine architectural prowess, Justinian's most enduring monument, is not military or legal, it's architectural. In the heart of Constantinople, he built the Hagia Sophia, the Church of Holy Wisdom, completed in just 5 years. It was the largest church in the world and a marvel of engineering. For nearly 1,000 years, it remained the spiritual center of Eastern Christianity. Its massive dome, floating as if by miracle above a halo of windows, left visitors breathless. The Hagia Sophia wasn't just a church, it was a symbol of imperial power, divine favor, and Byzantine genius. Trade and commerce. The empire is a crossroads of East and West. Spices from India, silks from China, furs from Russia, and gold from Africa all flowed through its ports. Constantinople was more than a political and religious capital. It was an economic powerhouse. Markets buzzed with goods and merchants from every corner of the known world. Located at the crossroads of Europe and Asia, the city dominated trade routes linking the Silk Road to the Mediterranean. The Byzantine economy was complex and vibrant. It minted a stable gold coin, the solidus, that became a standard of international trade. Successive waves of invaders, Goths, Persians, Avars, Slavs, Arabs, pressed against its borders. Meanwhile, internal power struggles weakened the state from within. Byzantium became a magnet for wealth, knowledge, and influence, and a target for envy. Generals and court officials vied for influence, sometimes toppling emperors or plunging the empire into chaos. Internal strife and external pressures, the two churches excommunicated each other. The cultural and religious unity that had once bound Christian Europe was broken. But no empire remains unchallenged forever. As Byzantium grew in power, so too did its enemies. Factions in the capital often clashed violently. Religious controversies, such as the iconoclasm debates, tore society apart. The empire, while resilient, was never entirely stable. Later, the Seljuk Turks dealt crushing defeats to Byzantine forces in Anatolia. Religious divisions. The schism between the Eastern Orthodox and Catholic churches. Byzantium was increasingly surrounded by hostile forces, and its heartland was now under threat. One of the most lasting internal fractures came in the form of religion. In 1054 AD, centuries of theological disagreements, political rivalry, and cultural divergence led to the Great Schism, the formal split between the Roman Catholic Church in the West and the Eastern Orthodox Church in Byzantium. Competent rulers were sometimes replaced by weak or corrupt ones. Provinces were neglected. Defenses crumbled. This was more than a disagreement about doctrine. It symbolized the deepening divide between Eastern and Western Christendom. They sacked the city, looting its churches, burning its libraries, and establishing a short-lived Latin empire. This division would have serious consequences in the centuries to come. The rise of Islamic empires, external threats to Byzantine borders as the empire struggled with internal challenges. A powerful new force emerged in the East, Islam. The empire was shattered, split into fragments ruled by rival Greek and Latin states. Organized, determined, and militarily superior, they steadily conquered Byzantine lands, surrounding the capital from all sides. In the 7th century, Arab Muslim armies swept through the Middle East, conquering Byzantine territories including Syria, Egypt, and Palestine. These losses deprived the empire of critical resources, manpower, farmland, and wealth. Internal power struggles and rebellions, weakening the empire from within. On May 29th, after 53 days, the Ottomans broke through. Even in the face of external threats, the Byzantines often remained their own worst enemies. Civil wars, noble rebellions, and usurpations plagued the empire. Each internal conflict left the empire more vulnerable, more fractured, and less able to respond to the growing storm. The Fourth Crusade, a devastating blow from Christian crusaders. Then came a blow from the most unexpected source: fellow Christians. Its scholars preserved the works of Plato, Aristotle, Homer, and Galen, fueling the European Renaissance. Its legal and religious institutions shaped Eastern Europe and Russia for centuries. In 1204, during the Fourth Crusade, Latin crusaders, diverted from their mission to the Holy Land, turned on Constantinople. The devastation was immense. Artifacts, relics, and centuries of accumulated wealth were destroyed or stolen. It was a civilization in its own right, one that stood as a guardian of ancient knowledge, a crucible of culture, and a testament to Byzantium would never fully recover. The Ottoman Empire, the final nail in the coffin for Byzantium. Though the Byzantines managed to retake Constantinople in 1261, the empire was but a shadow of its former self. By now a new power had risen in Anatolia, the Ottoman Turks. The final chapter was approaching, the fall of Constantinople in 1453. Marking the end of an era in 1453, Sultan Mehmed II laid siege to Constantinople. Despite heroic resistance, the city's defenses, worn and undermanned, could not hold. The last emperor, Constantine the 11th, is said to have cast off his imperial robes and charged into battle, dying with sword in hand. With the fall of Constantinople, the Byzantine Empire ceased to exist. It was the end of the Roman Empire, 1,500 years after it had begun. The enduring legacy, yet Byzantium lives on. Its art and architecture, especially the domes and mosaics of Orthodox churches, still awe the world. The Byzantine Empire was not merely a continuation of Rome Empire's rise, Empire's fall, but their legacies endure.